This Let's Edit with Media Composer tutorial is brought to you by VideoGuys.com, the leading reseller of video editing and production equipment for more than 25 years. Check out VideoGuys.com for great deals on Avid Media Composer software licenses, subscriptions, and upgrades, and use coupon code MC101 for 5% off any purchase. Hey everyone, Kevin P McAuliffe here, and I am back again with another Media Composer 101 tutorial. And in this lesson, we're heading back to basics, and I want to continue talking about our settings. And in this lesson, talking about a specific setting, the grid settings, what I want to do is talk about an important concept that's very important to know, especially if you're going to be setting your work out, your HD work, or even 2K, 4K work for standard definition television. Yes, as much as I know, standard def is a way of the past, believe it or not, there's still a lot of stations out there that do require you to set your sequences up in a very specific way to make sure that your show or your commercial is what's called 4:3 safe. And in this lesson, when talking about the grid settings, I'm going to show you how you can set up 4:3 safe grid settings inside of Media Composer and exactly what that means and what it means for your setup. Okay, short introduction here. Let's just get into Media Composer and let's get started. Okay, so let's Command and Tab into Avid Media Composer, obviously an Alt and Tab for all my Windows friends out there. Now, if you don't have the grid command mapped onto your keyboard or onto the Composer window or even at the top of your timeline, we're going to need to track it down. Now, obviously, to find any command inside of Media Composer, we can navigate up to Tools, come down to the Command palette, and the grid is actually located inside of the effects category right there, and you'll find it right here, the grid. And what I want to do here is a button-to-button reassignment. I'm just going to stick it over here on the right side of the Composer window. Why don't I put it, maybe I'll just even stick it in the lower left corner because I already have a shortcut for find bin. So I'm just going to drop it right there. Okay, now most people are familiar with the grid just like this. They turn the grid on, they're like, oh, fantastic. I can now do some titling and stuff like that. So let's talk just very briefly about the actual settings that come along with your grid. Of course, if we're talking about settings, we're going to navigate over here to our Settings tab. I'm simply going to scroll down to the grid, and what we're going to end up doing is, much like our export settings, we're going to create two different grid views. We're going to create one for 16:9 and one for 4:3 inside of a 16:9. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Let's get to our grid settings first. I'm simply going to double click on it. There's really only a few things in here that you're going to need to know. You're going to notice right away we have scale mode right here. Right now it's set to normal. That's fine for the purposes of what we're doing. In most cases, all of the adjustments that you're going to make are located inside of the Display tab. Now, in most cases, I tell people not to use white as a grid color, only because, I have a lot of end tags when I'm working on spots and things like that, where the end tag is white, and then of course your grid disappears. So normally what I try to do is to pick a color here in the color drop down, something that will stand out. Normally purple or even green will actually stand out. If you want to see what that's going to look like, you can simply say apply, and you can see neon green, not something that you run into very often, unless of course you're doing some green screen work. Now you'll see that we also can get in and adjust the type of grid that we have. We can have square, we can have standard film. You'll see if I apply that, very different. Okay. We even have the Academy. I'll just say apply, just like such. But if you're working in HD TV, and to be perfectly honest, it's NTSC, North American, or PAL, you're going to be leaving this type set to be square. I'll just simply say apply. What you might want to do is show some 14:9 zones if you happen to be working with 14:9. You can show the aspect ratios of even 1:8:5 if you wanted to, just like that. But again, in most cases, you're going to be leaving all of these turned off. Okay, and in most cases, what I should do here is just apply that just so I can get rid of that 1:8:5 aspect. In most cases, all you're going to do is simply say OK, and your grid settings are now set up. Okay. Of course, we can simply turn them on and turn them off by simply hitting the key or the button here in the Composer window right below the Sequence window. Now, this is your standard grid for any work that you're going to be doing in high definition. But of course the question comes along. In most cases, when you deliver a master, you're delivering an HD master. You don't deliver SD masters anymore. That really doesn't happen. But just because you're not delivering an SD master doesn't mean the station isn't going to need one. What they're going to do is they're going to use the HD master you give them to create a standard def master. So what they're going to say to you is, editor, we need you to provide a 4:3 safe version of your show. Now, in most cases, you're not making a 16:9 and a 4:3. You're just making a 4:3 safe version of your show. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my grid settings. Okay, so I'm just going to come to grid. I'm going to call this grid setting 16 by 9 safe. Okay, just so we can obviously keep track of everything. Okay, we're going to duplicate these grid settings, and we're going to call this one 4 by 3 safe. Okay, and all I'm going to do is inside of my 4 by 3 safe settings, I'm going to double click. We're going to come to our coordinates, and we're going to change the scale mode from normal to 4 by 3 inside of a 16 by 9 monitor. Once I say OK, you'll see that if I switch the grid settings now, my safes look more like a standard definition 4 by 3 safe. So what exactly is going on here? Most people think, well, this can't be right. I'm working in HD. I don't know why this is here. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to hide Media Composer for 1 second. We're going to go into After Effects because I think this is easier to show inside of Adobe's After Effects. Now you're going to notice inside of After Effects, much like I just showed you in Media Composer, we have 2 safes set up. We have our 16 by 9 safe, picture and title set up here, and here's my 4 by 3 safe right here. And what I've done is I've mimicked a title that you would do, standard title inside of Media Composer, called appropriately enough 16 by 9 text safe. Well, here is a standard definition frame size, and what's going to happen is when the station takes your 16 by 9 show, in most cases they might not letterbox it. Letterboxing, there's no issue with 4 by 3 safe. Where 4 by 3 safe comes in is if they're going to edge crop it. Now, if they edge crop it to make your show full screen, what's going to happen is this. Your show, even though all of your titles are in 16 by 9 safe, inside a 4 by 3 safe, you'll see that if I fit this to the window here, they're actually getting cut off. So what do we do about that? Well, this is where if I let's actually hide After Effects here just so I don't see it in the background. I'm going to Command and Tab back to Media Composer. This is where our 4 by 3 safe comes into play. Let me show you what I mean by this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new title. We're actually going to create a couple new titles here. Okay, I'm just going to go to the standard title tool. We'll just call this 4 by 3 safe. Okay, and I'm just going to position it here where 4 by 3 title safe would be. Okay, and I'm going to save this. So let's actually just close this up here. We'll call this appropriately enough. We'll call it 4 by 3 safe. Okay, and we could just leave everything the way that it is. I'll just simply say save. I'm just going to drop this into my timeline here. Okay, and we're going to do another one for 16 by 9 safe. So let's just switch my grid to be 16 by 9 safe. Now this is of course why I have 2 grid settings, so I can easily switch back and forth depending on my need. So of course, let me just add a new video layer, Command and Y on the Mac, Control and Y on Windows. Let's copy this. Let's paste this down here. And of course, we're going to right click, simply say Edit Title. And we're going to place this title in 16 by 9 safe. Title safe, of course. Let's call this, of course, 16 by 9 safe. And we'll stretch that out in just a second here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this frame to show you in After Effects exactly what this is going to look like. So let me save this now. Okay. Now again, remember, 4 by 3 safe in 16 by 9, 16 by 9 title safe. So all I'm going to do is simply select all my layers here. Let's right click. I'm going to say export. Let's see if I have a JPEG export setting here. I don't know if I do. If I don't, it's not a big deal. What I can do is just simply come in here. We'll just select JPEG. Okay. I know that I'm going to be working in 1280 by 720. We'll just keep everything as legal. I think that's all good. I'll just say save as JPEG. Just if I have to do this again, I'll have that saved as a template. We'll just simply say save. We'll send this to the desktop. We'll call it 4 by 3 safe. Okay. If I hide Media Composer, I'm just going to show you here. There's my 4 by 3 and 16 by 9 safe. So let's go back into After Effects here and let me show you the difference. I'm simply going to import that file from the desktop here. There we go. Let's take this. Let's drop it into a 4 by 3 project. Let's scale it down, of course, because it is 720p, and take a look at the difference now. Let me just zoom back a little bit here, just so I can make sure everything lines up properly. And you can see that basically what has happened is that by laying out my titles inside of the proper 4 by 3 safe, you'll see that if we were to down convert and edge crop the image, all of your titles are going to appear proper. Now, a lot of people think to themselves, well, Kev, I don't want to be putting my titles all the way over here. Let me just switch my grid. But what's important to keep in mind, and as unfortunate as it sounds, at the end of the day, this is a very common request from a lot of stations. They want all of the text to fall into 4x3 safe. That's why if you start watching shows, you're going to start noticing network bugs and things like that are going to appear inside of 4x3 safe. So 4x3 safe inside of 16:9 is an exceptionally important concept that you need to understand, especially if you're delivering commercials and even shows to networks or even just TV stations. This is going to be a common request that you're going to run into a lot of the times. Now, before I wrap up this lesson, I want to thank our sponsor Video Guys, and don't forget to check them out and use coupon code MC101 for 5% off your Avid purchase or any other purchase including G Technology storage, software plugins, and so much more. And if you like this tutorial, please click that subscribe button, and don't forget that if you have any questions, you have any comments, or you have any tutorial requests, you can post them in the comment section below this lesson, or you can send them to kevinpmcauliffe@gmail.com. This has been Kevin P. McAuliffe. Thanks a lot for watching.